We are now in one of our excursion, using the train going to the White Pass in Skagway, Alaska. We enjoy watching the videos. Come here, babe. With our guests.
Was eventually designated an International Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. Now I understand that that's quite a mouthful, but it's a very prestigious honor. We share that same distinction with other marvels of engineering like the Statue of Liberty, the Golden Gate Bridge, the Eiffel Tower, and even the Panama Canal. On their backs and a story to tell. The brutal reality was that by the time the world had learned of the Klondike gold discovery, all of the truly valuable claims had already been staked. Only about 30,000 people managed to overcome the hardship of the trails. 10% of them found gold, and only a couple hundred found enough to be considered wealthy. So most would never find this precious yellow metal that they so desperately sought. What they found instead was something they never expected: perspective. They realized that they got to be part of a unique time and place in history, and they got to take part in a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. So many looked back on their adventures in the Klondike fondly. One of the men who felt this way is a name I believe you'll recognize, Jack London. The famous author, he also hiked the White Pass Trail, and his experiences during the Klondike Gold Rush inspired his greatest works like Call the Wild and White Fang. He had this to say about his own adventure. It was in the Klondike that I found myself. There, nobody speaks. Everybody thinks. You get your true perspective. And I got mine. So with that, we have reached the end of my tour. What I'm going to do, what I like to do actually, is set the microphone down so I can come through each of the cars and greet all the folks that I've been speaking to. That way, if you have any last minute questions for me, I can answer them for you personally. I've been giving a tour from the middle of the train. I might breeze past some of you at first. It's just so I can make my way to the very front. Once I get there, I'll turn around, double back, and then greet you all properly. I won't be leaving the microphone unattended. My good friend Jess has volunteered to take over for us. She's going to guide us the rest of the way into Skagway. So, without further ado, here is Jess, and I look forward to meeting you all shortly. They simply didn't, because it was cheaper to pay for a new one than it was to even pay for feed. This terrain is deadly at the best of times, but they found the White Pass Trail, what there was of it, to be scrabbling through mud and scree fields, swarming with prospectors in their packing outfits, snow, ice, and avalanches during the wintertime, mud and deluges of rain during the summertime. It's hard to imagine an environment less suitable for a horse. And thousands would end up dying from the trail conditions, where one misstep could mean plummeting hundreds of feet to their deaths. But many others died from neglect and mistreatment by the stampeders, who didn't know how to take care of a horse, and they weren't very much interested in learning how to do that either. All they could think of was the wealth that awaited them in the Klondike. The miserable conditions along the trail, the requirement by the Canadian government to hike it dozens of times to bring their supplies up to the summit, it drove everyone into a kind of frenzy, and they ended up taking out their frustrations on their animals. This is perhaps the dark truth that lies behind many romanticized tales of adventure in the Klondike. Back during the height of this trail's use, no one called it the White Pass Trail. They called it the Dead Horse Trail. And it was said that the stench of carrion could be smelled for miles. Now, the reason I share this story with you folks is not because I want to depress everybody, although I fear I may have done just that, but it's because I want to give you folks an accurate account of what this experience was like. At this point, I'm going to change subjects on you rather abruptly. Now that everyone is depressed, we are coming back up to milepost 17. This is Inspiration Point. Something a little bit more lighthearted. If you look ahead of us now, on the right-hand side of our train, you'll notice that the valley is lining up once again, giving us that view.
Oh, look at this thing. We're like in a cave.
That our surroundings have changed substantially. We have transitioned into an entirely different biome. Where we began our journey in Skagway, we were in a temperate rainforest. Up here, we are in an alpine tundra, in just 3,000 feet of elevation gain. Not a whole lot grows up here, except a few species of lichen and these small stunted trees. These aren't baby trees. We are approaching the international boundary between the United States and Canada. And this boundary is denoted by a small bronze obelisk. We'll see it very shortly on a little rocky ledge above us on our left. So we are going to cross into British Columbia here momentarily. When we do, also to our left on the ground, we're going to see a small wooden hut with the letters NWMP on the side. This hut is a replica. It's a replica of the cabin utilized by the Northwest Mounted Police, a military detachment that was stationed out here protecting the border and ensuring that each and every gold rush stampeder had their 1 ton of supplies. They were enforcing this policy with newly minted Maxim machine guns, and they were not shy. If you were missing the 2,000 pounds of goods that you needed to have, they wouldn't hesitate to send you packing back to Skagway to get whatever it was that you were missing. So again, here very shortly, we're going to be crossing into British Columbia. The border marker is a small bronze obelisk up on a little rocky ledge to our left.
Okay, what can you say?
Huh?
What can you say?
What can I say? Unbelievable, God's beauty. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be unbelievable because he's God, but still.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Nothing is impossible.
Only a creator, a supreme creator could do all this. Wow.
Oh, why it's like a white Christmas.
Only yes. Oh,
White
babe,
Christmas.
if this was Christmas, you wouldn't see any dirt. This would be all snow. You couldn't even come up here. Their train wouldn't even run. This is covered in snow. And yet their guys actually walk this with pack mules to get to the gold field. That's people going crazy over gold. Oh, look at the bridge. Wow, look at the bridge.
The next one is we will get into a tunnel. The eyes are so thick, higher than me. Funny, it's funny because I already have running nose.
Thank you. Oh, I always do this in the tunnel. Happens every time.
You have to change now.
We're inside the tunnel.
This is the longest tunnel too.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not.
Thank you. Yep, we're good. Didn't have my train legs ready. Sorry about that.